How y'all doing? This is MongoSlade, and today we're gonna read an article from What Culture. It says Lita claims WWE threatened to fire her if she refused the live sex celebration. Now, before we go into this, I wanna make some programming notes real quick. Normally, I would try to double check something like this, or I would wait until more information came out. But I do have something to do. Now, when I saw this article on Twitter, it was tweeted out by the author. I checked all the wrestling websites to see if anybody else had. First of all, I read the article. It contains no direct quotes. It also contains no timestamp for what the story is supposed to take place. It does have a link to Lita's Twitch channel, but all the videos are behind paywalls. You have to be a subscriber, and there was no direct quotes for anything in this article. It's basically just, oh, Lita said this, and then it get into some other stuff. I saw it. I didn't see it on any other wrestling website. So all of these things that really love gossip and nonsense, I didn't see it on any of that stuff. But I figure, even though I don't really have, I got other things to do, and I don't really have time to see if this thing fleshes out. So we're gonna go about it as if it were true. All right. So take all of that into account. I didn't see it anywhere else. I didn't hear it for myself. But we're gonna operate as if this were true. Okay. So we're gonna act like everything that's written here is true, and then I'm going to respond to it thusly. So this is written by, I'm not going to say the guy's name. I don't want them to get, these guys get real sensitive about stuff like that. So Lita told a grim story during a Twitch live stream on her official channel yesterday. They didn't have a date, revealing that WWE threatened to fire her if she said no to her and Edge's infamous live sex celebration segment. The WWE Hall of Famer claimed that while herself, Edge, John Cena, and other WWE crew members protested the segment, Vince McMahon was into the idea and decided to run with it anyway. Lita told the company, understandably, that she was uncomfortable performing such acts on television. That's when they threatened to let her go if she refused. The ordeal contributed towards Lita's decision to leave the company later that year, WWE's decision to bury her on the way out. She worked a retirement bout at Survivor Series 2006, dropping the women's title to Mickie James, with Crime Time auctioning off her belongings and a quote-unquote wholesale afterwards. Edge and Lita's live sex celebration went down on the 9th of January 2006 episode of Raw, while the demeaning angle had both wrestlers stripping down before diving into beneath the sheets, with Ric Flair interrupting with the apparent intention of, quote, showing Edge how it's done. Now that's a direct quote. One of the WWE's crassiest and most demeaning post-attitude segments, it came after WWE had WWE had already decided to cast negativity on Lita for her alleged promiscuity, with the trailblazing star subjected to gross insults weekly. Okay. All right. Here's the thing. Let's take this apart. For starters, her alleged promiscuity came from Matt Hardy, not the company. Matt Hardy saying that she fucked Edge, or that she was cheating on him with Edge. So it's not like the company created this image of Lita. This concept came from her real life situation with Matt Hardy, which has continuously changed over the course of the several years. For those of you who don't know, Matt Hardy and Lita were dating. Then some situation took place where Matt Hardy was injured and Lita started hanging out with Edge. The story started to change over time. Some say they had sex. Then Lita started saying, oh, we only kissed a couple of times. And all of that stuff started to unfold years and years later. So the alleged promiscuity angle, that did not come from WWE. That came from Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy is the one who says that Lita cheated on him, and Edge and Lita just basically ran with it because it really just made Edge's career that this whole thing took place. And, it's true because all three parties involved have said that it's true. So it's not alleged. It is what it is. Saying that is demeaning is, of course, an opinion. I can't really say anything about that. The depiction of the live sex celebration as the two wrestlers stripping down and then jumping in the sheets, that is accurate. The Survivor Series 2006 women's championship match with Mickie James, with Crime Time auctioning off her belongings that they stole, by the way, and including stealing her panties and selling her panties to JBL, which is fantastic. That was great shit. That is indeed accurate. The WWE Hall of Famer claimed that while herself, Edge, John Cena, and other crew members protested the segment, McMahon was into it and decided to run with the idea anyway. Now, here is the situation that is, of course, at hand. I don't know. I can see Vince being so enamored with the idea and the ridiculousness of a live sex celebration that he decided to run with it, regardless of what other people thought. I can definitely understand that. I can understand that it actually fits the character of Edge at the time as the rated R superstar. Also, I do believe Edge had children from his previous marriage or something like that. He might not have wanted to do it. But it's entirely possible that, Edge, Cena, and a bunch of other guys weren't really into it. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that Lita didn't want to do it. It's entirely possible that WWE threatened to fire her if she didn't do it. All of this is entirely possible. So let's say that it is. What do I think about saying that you're going to fire a person for not doing what is essentially a striptease in the middle of the ring? I think that it's probably not a good idea to threaten to fire people for not doing a striptease in the middle of the ring. But you do have to think about this. Lita has done, the Lita character around that time was doing a lot of sexualized stuff. She actually did some more sexualized stuff later, like when she did that really weird pin with, no, that was Tommy Dreamer's wife. I'm tripping. But that was part of the Edge gimmick. Yeah, because I was thinking about the pin that from One Night Stand where that lady was getting humped, but that was Edge humping Tommy Dreamer's wife. That wasn't Lita, but it was weird for sure, and it's definitely weird that you would try to threaten to fire somebody for not doing something that is technically not in their job. It's like, sure, it's in your job to do whatever this guy comes up with, but at the same time, is it really in your job to strip tease and get naked in front of an audience? It's like, no. But I don't like it. The segment in itself, I don't think really added anything. I think that you could have done something else to get around this whole live sex celebration. Obviously, they weren't going to have real sex. I mean, it's just ludicrous for them to even say that. But that's along the lines of when you have a buried alive match and they say you're going to burn somebody alive. It's like, obviously you're not going to burn somebody alive in the wrestling ring. It just doesn't seem to make much sense for you to promote that, because that's not what you're going to do, right? So it's obviously somebody is going to interrupt this. And I think maybe that's where the situation is coming from, that you guys aren't really going to have sex in front of TV. It's basically going to be Lita stripping down to her, basically what she would wear in a photo shoot, So it's not like she had to do anything that was out of the ordinary. She was already doing photo shoots. She was already doing that kind of stuff. And so the idea that, this would be some big deal, like it's a departure, is like, not really. But let's also say, because since we're making assumptions, that it might be a thing where people agree to do things, right? And then they wish they hadn't agreed to do it. And this always happens. This almost always takes place, especially with women, right? Nobody cares if a guy agreed to do something and then he backs out of it later, like, damn, I wish I hadn't agreed to do that. Then they kind of like, oh, well, you agreed to do it and then you did it. Too bad. But when it comes to women, it's almost always like, were you pressured? Were you forced? It's like, you agreed to do it. And then you continue to work there afterwards. And then you continue to work there even years afterwards. and then you continue to do stuff even years afterwards. Like this was 15 years ago now. That's how long ago, and that's crazy because I remember 2006. I was 22. So this was a long time ago. So the idea that we're just going to start bringing up everything that took place, and then people are like, you know what? I was so uncomfortable years later, right? Now, some people may say, well, they feel more comfortable saying that they were uncomfortable now. I say sometimes people also use this stuff to grift. And I'm not saying that's what Lita is doing. I'm just saying that it's possible. Considering I don't know whether this story is true or not, it's hard to tell. It's hard also to get emotional because I don't know what the hell was said. I don't know if this guy is reading into it what he wanted to, or if she literally said, oh, they threatened to fire me. I don't know. But I also know that sometimes people use these types of stories to grift. Lita was a part of that whole thing with Gail Kim and Christy Hemme, where they tried to grift up on a wrestling show. What was it called? They ran a Kickstarter or something like that, trying to run a wrestling show that was going to be based around feminist stories. There's going to be a bunch of blind items about people, and it was going to be some real wrestling. And they got like Chavo Guerrero involved and all this type of stuff. They were all going to be involved too, and it didn't make its bone. So it didn't make enough money to actually get into anything. But there's been quite a bit of this whole 15 years later, almost 20 years later, I didn't really want to type of stuff. Especially since Lita was on the roster when Sable sued WWF for sexual harassment, right? She was on the roster at the time. This was in 2000, maybe? 2002, maybe? So Lita was on the roster, knew it was entirely possible to sue the company for something like this. She didn't do it. She actually did the segment. So I'm beginning to really question whether the validity of this. And for anybody who says, well, they're a mega corporation and she's a big, teeny, tiny, small woman, it's like most sexual harassment lawsuits don't go to court. Most of them just get a check and they go away. That's how sexual harassment is really dealt with. It's an easy check. It is really an easy check because it's, again, one of the only laws, like discrimination laws, period, are some of the only laws in the United States where the defendant has to prove that they didn't do it. They have to prove that it didn't happen. And it's almost always impossible to prove that you did not do something. Which is the appropriate is somebody proving that you actually did do something, Like if somebody can't say, well, I didn't commit that murder, and then somebody said you have to prove you didn't commit that murder. It's like, how the hell do I don't have the resources to prove I didn't do something. That would require a lot more information than most people have access to. So she could have, if she wanted to, if this were true, she could have filed a sexual harassment claim and would have won it. And she still could have gone back because Sable did. Sable filed a sexual harassment complaint against WWE, won, got some money, and then came back to work. Really, really weird stuff. So, of course, a lot of people really just kind of jump to the whole Vince McMahon is an evil businessman. He's evil. He's evil. And he forced this poor woman and this poor man, Edge, because, this poor man, because apparently he didn't want to do it either. But it's all about Lita saying that she didn't want to do it. And something really, I really am fighting the urge to just kind of tag Edge in this conversation and saying like, Edge, is this true? But I don't think that that's necessary. Snitch. But for just in case. Okay, so just in case throughout my day, if I'm doing something else and I upload this video and there's more information coming out or something like that, somebody posts a video or somebody comes out with a direct quote, I disavow this kind of thing. I don't think you should be able to force people to do things that they don't want to do. And I think that's a cardinal sin, in my opinion. It's forcing things upon people is a cardinal sin. If somebody doesn't want to do something, but then on the other side too, you have to be adult enough that if you don't want to do it, you're willing to leave. You're willing to walk away. So the idea that this might have happened, it's very well true. It's very well possible. It's also possible that this cut culture guy is making up shit or reading into something that really wasn't directly said. But I don't know. I'm not about to subscribe to Lita's Twitch channel just to hear, just to sit down and listen to this thing. But it's up to you guys. Make up your own opinions. This man is a gross dude. People just have made these stories up about him to make him sound like he's the most evil person that ever exists, which is entirely possible, I guess. I don't know the guy personally. I just find it very difficult that he escaped all of these situations of rape and murder, and him like, he would have to be a mob boss to escape some of the stuff that he's been accused of doing. I mean, he's accused of covering up murders. Like, this stuff is insane, bro. It's also a thing where a lot of these people are looking to cash in or get clicks. Like, it's entirely possible What Culture posted this to get clicks and figured nobody was going to look and ask any questions. But I did tweet the writer and asked him to amend the article to feature a timestamp for people who want to see it, and for him to provide direct quotes. As that later, he may go back, change pieces of the article to provide direct information, but maybe not, because it's pretty easy to just ignore what I'm out here, because I'm a small channel. If I was a bigger channel, it'd probably be more likely for him to respond. But I don't like that. I don't like the idea of people being forced to do things. And I know that Vince McMahon does have the idea of it's my way or the highway. He also has a tendency to up the ante if he wants something done. Like I think forget it was Bruce Pritchard or Vince McMahon, or not Vince McMahon, but Bruce Pritchard or Jim Ross or somebody like that, or maybe even Cornette, who talked about Vince wanting the guy to stop smoking, and he paid the guy to stop smoking. So it's probably is likely possible that he didn't threaten to fire her, but he says, "Hey, I'll give you X amount of more money," and then she went and did it. Who knows? Who knows what the hell some of these stories are made up just for the Twitch channels and stuff like that? Who knows? It's also very entirely possible because wrestlers have been known to be uncomfortable about storylines and different things like that, and because it might be working at the time, or somebody might think it works, that they go with it. And I know that there have been several sort of romantic type of storylines that people didn't like the old Shawn Michaels and Diana Smith storyline that apparently the Hearts were not fond of, and that's why it didn't really go anywhere. It didn't go any further. So it was that kind of thing. Like, those kind of soap opera things does make people uncomfortable. And I made the video about this, and I saw almost immediately in the comment section to this clip, or to this tweet rather, that people are like, "Oh, now you got Lacey Evans being forced into hanging out with Ric Flair." It's like, Lacey Evans is playing into it on Twitter. Everybody knows that it's fiction. It has nothing. It's nowhere on the same level as this, right? It's nowhere on the same level as you have to strip naked in the middle of the ring, or strip down to the middle of the ring. But I question the context of this, and you should too. I mean, it's up to you. If you've heard Lita's Twitch streams, let me know in the comment section below that this is absolutely true, and in which case I will still not apologize to this guy, but I will at least be able to have at least somebody else who's heard it. So if you've heard the Twitch stream in question and you can provide context and direct quotes, please do so in the comment section below. Thank you. And for anybody else who is just listening to the sound of my voice, I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Spread the good word of 3 Count Commentaries. I am always looking for new information. If you guys have stories that you want me to cover, leave links or whatever in the comment section below, or send me money and then say, "Hey, look into this subject or that subject," and I'll do so. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.